Yeah, I think in speaking of those things, let's start our class this morning in a child's pose. So knees a little bit wider than your hips, as long as that's comfortable for you. Toes generally to touch. Of course, if it's not comfortable to be seated this way, you might have your knees straight out in front of you. And my recommendation is full child's pose, relaxed variation first, resting all the way down. Reach your arms out in front of you, allowing your elbows to rest down first. Forehead to press into your mat, and if your forehead is not pressing into your mat, then stacking fists or placing something underneath your forehead so you have some support there. Notice if you have an inclination to automatically close your eyes or if you keep them open. Notice the pressure that you might experience of your belly on your thighs or compression at your hips. Do your toes touch? Do your hips reach down to your heels, or is there some space there? And as you breathe, notice any physical changes that occur as well. And in this position, making sure that you're still breathing in all directions so your ribcage can expand. I invite you to set a dedication or intention for this practice. For me, for obvious reasons that we were just speaking of, it is gratitude. Simply thankful for this warmth, thankful that my body can generate warmth. Perhaps something else speaks more directly to you. Take a very deep breath in. Fill up all the way again, noticing any of those physical changes, like your belly pressing against your thighs, your hips being compressed. Hold the top for just a moment. Exhale, release, let go. Come all the way down to the valley of your breath, the very bottom of it, pausing for a moment. And then reinvigorate, deep breath in. Exhale, release, surrender. And once more on your own. If you're forward in your child's pose and your forehead is flat on your mat, then pressing your elbows into the mat, bring your hands up, palms to touch, and then bring your thumbs towards the base of your neck, maybe even walking your elbows forward just a little bit more. Press your palms toward each other. And of course, the ability your palms can press together has a lot to do with the anatomy of your body, the length of your arms, things like this. And if you do get your palms to touch, draw your inner biceps upward toward the ceiling as you draw your shoulders down to the mat, reach your hips back to your heels. Press your thumbs more in towards the base of your neck. And then release that prayer, reach your arms out in front of you, long, 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 extending your elbows, crawling out, coming up onto your finger pads. And again, inner biceps press up toward the ceiling as you claw at the mat, your hips pull back, shoulders reach away from your ears. Lift up about halfway and then take your torso and your arms over to the right. So your belly might be a little bit more on your right thigh. Reach your left arm out even further, left hip pulling back toward left heel. Lift up halfway again, keeping it low. Spiral around to the other side. Your right arm comes out even further, clawing at the ground. Right hip pulls back to your right heel. Make your way back to center. And then press up to your hands and your knees. Realign your knees and your heels with your hips so you've got shins parallel. First, take some movement to your toes and your fingers, your wrists, your ankles. My toes are very cold right now. I'm sure that will change very soon. Also getting some of that blood coming back. We just compressed an artery for a while there. So you might feel even a little bit of pins and needles as you warm up here. And then let's take a cow and cat to release your belly down towards the mat. Sweep your heart forward. Send your gaze up, hips up. And then on an exhale, draw your hips towards your ribs so much that you start to arch your spine. Press away from the mat, pull your chin in towards your chest. And then again, inhale, sweep it down. Reach the tops of your shoulders towards the back of your hips. And then on an exhale, flip it the other direction, coming into your cat pose. Come back down to a neutral spine, and we're going to take just a bit of a flow there. So send your hips back to your heels, modified child's. Inhale, rise to your knees. Slight back bend, maybe even palms press once again. Exhale, bow all the way down, modified child's. Inhale, keep it low, slither forward to a cow, belly down. Exhale, press up into cat. Keeping that arch, send your hips back to your heels at modified child's again. And one more time, inhale, rise to your knees. Press through your knees, press through the tops of your feet or your toes. Exhale, all the way down, modified child's. Inhale, slither it forward for your cow pose. Belly is down, heart is up. Exhale, invert it, turn into your cat pose. And then I just want you to come onto your bum for a Sukhasana. So just one ankle in front of the other, and we'll switch it up. So if you want to start with dominant leg first, which I'm doing, or start with non-dominant first, take your hands to your knees. We're going to have just a little bit of hip mobility here. So shift on an inhale, your shoulders towards your right knee. Take it forward, shoulder blades on your back as you come forward. And as you rock it to the left side, begin to arch your spine, pulling your chin more towards your chest. Take it all the way down. Another revolution in the same direction. Inhale as you come forward, creating kind of a cow shape. And on an exhale, rocking it back in a bit of a cat shape, and then shift it to the other direction, 2 revolutions. After that second time, come back up to seated so that your shoulders are just above your hips. Cross out your legs, unless you know that you need a little bit more time on one side when balance doesn't look like balance. And then we're simply going to walk your hands forward. So you can use your forearms to support you. You could prop yourself up. And then you're going to come to a place where maybe you release your head down. It may or may not rest on something. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your head floating in space, then do come up and give yourself some support with fists or a block. Otherwise, it is okay, as long as it feels okay and you know that this is not any kind of contraindication, something, you can let your head float. Notice if you feel any decompression here. 2 more breaths. And then keeping your head heavy, if this is an option for you, start to press your hands to the mat and make your way to seated. Your head is the last thing to lift. And then you can keep your foot orientation just as it is now. Or again, what does balance look like for you? It might mean changing it out again. For me, this is the side that gets a little bit less attention, so I'm going to stay here for a bit. And I'm going to take some Gomukhasana arms. So start with your right arm up towards the ceiling. Flip your palm back so you can pat yourself on the back. Left arm comes out to the side, thumb is down, and then sweep it around. Maybe grasp your shirt. It is early yet, and also both sides of our body are different. Reach your fingertips for each other. Point your right elbow up, left elbow points down. Draw your floating ribs in. Press your head back into your right forearm. So see if you can just get taller to the crown of your head rather than taking a back bend here. You're pressing down through your hips. And then when you're ready, release the left hand down. Cycle your right arm up and around. We'll take the left hand up. Flip your palm away from you. Pat yourself on the back. Right arm is up, thumb down, and then sweep it around. Again, grasping shirt, maybe grasping fingertips, or maybe just reaching fingertips for each other. Right now, I'm in a fingertips reaching for each other situation, which is a little bit atypical, but you know, if it's now, it's now, and this is what's happening. Press your head back into the forearm, draw your low belly in. Notice if you're tensing up on your hip flexors, let your knees drop. Slow exhales, growing taller. And then release the left hand up, the right hand down. And then rock over onto your hands and knees once again, maybe feeling blood flow back once more. Starting to get a little bit warm? Okay. So reach your right leg out, flex or point your toes, find some activity, low belly in, so you get a little bit more Tadasana in your spine. Lift up through your inner right thigh. So it might feel like your pinky toe of your right foot is pointing down ever so slightly. Reach your left arm out, thumb is up. On an exhale, bring your elbow to your knee underneath your back. Puff up your back like you're coming into cat pose. Even draw your chin in. This will challenge your balance. Inhale, extend out. Low belly in still. Exhale, draw it in. Maybe even your elbows and knees crossing each other's paths. Inhale, reach out. Final time to pull in. And then extend out. Bend the right knee. We're going to take a bound tiger. Reach your left arm up and around, either reaching for the foot, maybe you clasp. And if you do clasp the foot, press foot to hand to foot, kind of like if you were in a dancer pose here. But you know, you're crossing your body here. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, release the foot, extend the foot long beyond you, hand down to the mat, pivot your left foot out to the side, and we're going to take a supported bridge pose. So your right leg is extended out. You've got a little bit of a support on your left knee. Reach your right arm up and over your head. Press through your left hand. Right pinky angles down. Notice if you can feel a deep stretch, perhaps in the side of your body, maybe even your psoas here. All right, this is going to take a little bit of strength here. On an exhale, you're going to lift your torso up. Right hand to your right thigh, maybe sliding down to your right calf, left fingertips up and over. And then we're going to take it all the way down again. Drawing in kind of a rainbow across the ceiling, left hand comes down, right hand comes up and over, maybe even lift up the right leg. Do that again. Take the right foot down, lift your torso up, right hand comes down to thigh, maybe slide down to the calf, left arm up and over. And then reverse path, windmill all the way over, left hand comes down, right arm up overhead, lift up the right leg perhaps. All right, then release the right leg down, take your right hand down to the mat, come back to a tabletop pose, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Several slow, long breaths here. Inhale your right leg up toward the ceiling. And then on an exhale, pull your knee to your nose, place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Drop the left knee down and then shift your hips back for Ardha Hanumanasana, half Hanuman Pose. Flex toes towards your face. Inhale, reach your heart towards your toes. And then exhale, reach your chest towards your thigh. And like we were doing earlier, maybe just drop your head. How does that change things? That simple motion of holding on to less. Inhale, lift up about halfway. Rebend into the front knee. Tuck your back toes, step your right foot back to meet your left, and come back to that downward facing dog. Deep breath in, full breath out. Come back down onto your hands and knees for the tabletop. And we're going to take left leg out, low belly in, flex point through your left toes. Again, lifting up through the inner ankle. So your inner thigh is kind of reaching up. And then right arm comes out, thumb is up. On an exhale, bring your elbow in towards your knee, arch your spine, press through your left hand a lot, and wherever your right foot is pressing to the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to draw in. Again, maybe your elbow and your knee even cross paths. Inhale, reach out. Longest, slowest exhale as you pull in. And then reach out once again. Okay, place your right hand into the mat. Reach your left hand out, left foot rather, far out. Pivot your right foot back. And we move into the supported side plank. Left fingertips up toward the ceiling, pressing through your right hand, left toes, reaching out to the left. Okay, now we're going to move into that gate pose, that little bit of a flow. So pressing through your foot, lift up, torso over your hips. Left hand comes out to thigh, maybe sliding all the way down to the calf, reach your right arm up and over. On an exhale, windmill all the way back down. Same path you came, right hand down to the mat. Left hand overhead, lift up the left leg. Place it down once again, reach up and over. Exhale, windmill all the way down. Left hand up overhead, lift up through your left foot. And then drop the foot, come all the way down. Press up and back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, left leg comes up for a tripod dog. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the left thumb. Drop the right knee down. Shift your hips back. Flex your left toes toward your face. Ardha Hanumanasana. So here, if you wanted blocks, if you wanted just a little bit more lift, if this tilting forward isn't working for you, you can lift up. And your left knee doesn't have to be fully extended to experience the posture either. So reach your heart towards your toes, and on an exhale, descend down. And then, like on the other side, maybe it's okay to release your head down. All right, lift your head right back up. Rebend into that front knee. Place your hands around either side of the front foot. Tuck your back toes. Lift up your back knee. Step your left foot back. Press up and back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in. And then a full breath out. Come forward to your hands and your knees. We're going to come into that supported side plank once again. So left foot comes out to the side. Extend your right leg behind you. Reach your right arm up and over your head. On an exhale, lift up. Right hand slides down your thigh to the left, to the calf. Left arm comes up and over. Exhale, windmill all the way down. Place hand into mat. Reach your right arm over your head. Lift up your right leg. Once more, come all the way over. Right hand slides down your leg. Left arm lifts up and over. Exhale, take it all the way back down. Lift up and over. Release your foot back down into the mat. Come back down to hands and knees. Press up and back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands. Release your left knee down. Half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. 3 breaths. After that third exhale, lift back up, rebend into the front knee, tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee. So we go from a half splits to a standing splits. Reach your heart forward, and then maybe with one hop or several, on an exhale, lift up, left leg comes up toward the ceiling. And again, you're lifting up with your inner thigh, so it might not be like the most beautiful, expansive standing splits ever. And then on an exhale, you're gonna bend through your standing knee, stand your left foot all the way back to the low lunge, drop your left knee down, arms come up, Anjaneyasana, exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, lift your arms back up, hands come down to the mat, lift up the back knee, coming forward to standing splits again. All the way down, chin towards your shin, stand your left foot all the way back, low lunge, drop the back knee, arms come up, Anjaneyasana, exhale, cactus. Yeah. Inhale up, take your hands down to your mat, tuck your back toes, lift up your back knee, step your left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, offer your heart out. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, come all the way up to standing, pressing through your feet, lift all the way up as tall as you can get. And then on an exhale, hands to your heart center. And then arms alongside your body. Tadasana, 3 breaths. Press down through your feet, lift up through the arches. Inhale, palms lift up, chin turns up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, take it all the way down. Breath in, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step back to the top of a plank pose. On an exhale, lower to or towards your mat through Chaturanga. Untuck your toes for a back bend, upward facing dog, cobra, or maybe even locust. And then on an exhale, take it up and back to downward facing dog. Come forward to your hands and knees once again. Pivot your right leg, your heel out to the side, extend your left leg out long for a supported side plank pose. Left fingertips up toward the ceiling, and then cinching left ribs towards left hip. Make your way all the way up. It takes more effort than it seems. Right arm is up, left hand slides down toward your calf. Exhale. Windmill all the way over, hand comes down, left arm up over your head, lift up the left leg. Intense, take it up over and again. Exhale, windmill all the way over. Left hand over, lift up your left leg. And then come back down to your hands and your knees, pivoting everything in the same direction. Press up and back to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up toward the ceiling, inhale. Exhale, place your foot between your hands. Release the right knee down. Half split, shift your hips back, bring your toes towards your face, 3 breaths. After your third exhale, lift up halfway. Rebend into the front knee. Tuck the back toes if they weren't already to lift up the back knee. So from this half splits, we move to standing splits. Shift it forward, right leg lifts up. We'll be here for just a couple breaths for this first one. Lifting up through the inner thigh, maybe wave your heart out long and reach your chest down towards your thigh a little more. Bend through the left knee, stand your right leg all the way back, low lunge, drop the knee, inhale, arms are up for Anjaneyasana. Exhale, cactus arms, scissor your thighs together. Lift back up on an inhale, exhale, plant down. Pop up the back knee, take it forward. Standing splits once again, rise up. Bend through your left knee, take your right leg all the way back, drop the back knee down. Inhale, arms up, exhale, cactus arms, scissor your thighs, bring your elbows like they tap behind you. Inhale, lift up, exhale, hands frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, lift up the back knee once again, step the right foot forward, forward fold, top of your mat. Breath in, half lift. Exhale, fold deeply. Root to rise, come up all the way to standing. And then on an exhale, hands to your heart center. And then alongside your body, Tadasana, 3 breaths. Next breath in, lift up, chin up. Exhale, hinge it forward, take it all the way down. Inhale, offer your heart outward. Exhale, fold once again. Step back to the top of a plank pose. On an exhale, lower to or toward your mat through Chaturanga. Untuck your toes for the back bend of your choice. Deep breath in, slide your shoulder blades toward each other, and then on an exhale, back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in, full breath out. Come to your hands and your knees. Pivot your left foot out. We're going to start continuing to build on this sequence. Right leg comes out, right fingertips up toward the ceiling, supported side plank. Press through the left leg, engage, cinch up the right hips towards your right rib cage. Right hand slides down toward the right calf, left fingertips up and over. Exhale, windmill all the way down. Right arm overhead, lift up the right leg. One more time like that. How slow and controlled. Can you make this movement syncing up with your breath? Exhale, wave it all the way back down. Right arm overhead, right leg lifts. All right, and then as you're ready, come back to your hands and your knees and make it up to a downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up, exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Drop the back knee, Ardha Hanumanasana, shift your hips back, 2 breaths. After your second exhale, lift back up, popping up the back knee, come forward. On an exhale, standing splits, left leg lifts up, draw the longest line you can, and then stand it all the way back, low lunge, drop the back knee, arms lift up, Anjaneyasana, exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, lift up, exhale, plant the hands, come forward to standing splits. Exhale, stand it all the way back as long as you can. Drop the knee, arms lift up, Anjaney. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, lift up, hands come down to the mat. Shift it back up to that standing splits. And then taking a little bend to your right knee to protect your hips and all your joints. Lift up halfway, and we're gonna open up to a half moon pose. So just taking that little bend to your knee takes off a little bit of pressure. Left fingertips up toward the ceiling if you would like. All right, this is going to get fun. You're going to bring your left knee in front of your chest and then pull your elbow down, maybe even to tap the knee. Left fingertips up, left leg comes out. Draw in, pull your knee in front of your chest. Yes, lift up and out. Once more like that. Pull the knee from your chest, elbow to tap to your knee, and then lift up once again. This time, pull your heel towards your bum, reach your left hand back to reach for a Chapasana pose, sugar cane. So your hand could be to the outside or to the inside. For a little bit of a greater stretch through your chest, palm to the inside of your foot might suit you a little bit better. And then maybe consider floating your right fingertips away from the mat. Simply breathe. And then release that foot, a little bend to your right knee. Angle the left hip down towards the mat. Place your left foot next to the right. Ragdoll pose. If you've taken a clasp, release your fingertips. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hand to your heart. Leave them here. Take your arms alongside your body. 3 breaths. Inhale, palms lift up, chin tilts up. Exhale, forward fold. Take it all the way down. Long inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Full controlled exhale, Uttanasana. Step back to top of plank pose. Option to take a vinyasa. We will meet in downward facing dog. Once you reach downward facing dog, allow yourself 3 full breaths. And then release your knees to the mat. We'll take that supported side plank, pivot your right foot behind you, extend your left leg out long, left fingertips up toward the ceiling. And then press through the knee, lift up and over, left hand slides down toward the left calf, or shin rather, right arm comes up and over, exhale, windmill all the way down, left arm overhead, lifts up the left leg. Drop it down, take it up and over. And exhale, pivot all the way back down once again. Left hand comes up and over, left foot lifts. Come forward to your hands and your knees once again. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breath in, left leg extends up, tripod. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward left thumb. Drop the right knee down. Shift hips back, half splits. 3 breaths. After your third exhale, lift up halfway. Bend in towards the front knee, tuck your back toes, lift up, and then launch forward, standing splits, right leg lifts up. Bending through your left knee, stand your right leg all the way back, drop the back knee, inhale, Anjaneyasana, arms lift, scissor your thighs, exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, take it up and over, palms press, lift up the back knee, launch forward, standing splits long through the left thigh. Exhale, bending through the left knee, stand all the way back, drop the right knee, arms lift up. Exhale, open. Inhale, take it up, hands press to the mat. Lift up the back knee, and once again, come forward for your standing splits. Lift up about halfway, a little bend to your left knee so you can start to tilt the right hip, right side of your pelvis, that little jutting part, your ACES out. And then maybe lift your left fingertips up toward the ceiling. All right, and if you want to play with me here, please do. Pull your right knee in towards your chest, bring your right elbow down to maybe even tap it. Extend right leg back out, right fingertips come up. Exhale, pull your knee in front of your chest, right elbow comes down. Inhale, extend. Third time like that, if you'd like, pull it in. And then lift up. And then once again, if you'd like to take Chapasana, sugar cane, bending the top knee, reach your right hand back toward, or maybe even grasping the foot. If you make that connection, press hand to foot, foot to hand. And then maybe consider lifting up your left fingertips from the mat or just lessening the weight on those fingers. Your standing leg doesn't need to be straight. It needs to be strong. It needs to be stable. And then once you're ready, release the right foot. If you've taken that clasp, a little bend to your left knee, stand your right foot next to your left. Ragdoll pose, get soft. And then release your fingertips to the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Root to rise, come up all the way to standing, maybe through reverse swan dive. And then on an exhale, hands to your heart center. Leave them here, take your arms alongside your body. Either option, 3 breaths. After your third exhale, shift the weight a little bit to your left leg, take a bend to that knee, and cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Your hands can be at your hips or to your heart center. Flex through the through the lifted foot, that is, and then bring your right knee down and back, beginning to hinge forward. So we've had quite a few experiences of this hinging forward so far in this class. Shoulders onto your back, but notice if you're getting a little bit of a sway in your back, pull your ribs towards your hips, and then just sit back lower, tilting forward more. And maybe you're like, I need to take my hands down to the mat. That might help you get into the pose a little more deeply. Just be really mindful not to fully extend your left knee if you take that option. All right, if you took your hands down to the mat, bring your hands back up towards your heart center. Your hips start to lift up, stand down and cross. Shift to one leg, shift it back to the other one. Blood rushes back. And then take the other side. Shift toward the right foot, bend through the right knee, cross your left ankle over right thigh. Take a few moments to get your stability first. And then find your creativity, freedom, expression. Flexing through the lifted leg, left knee back. Again, notice if you're getting a little bit of a sway back, knit it in, tilt it forward. Moving on your exhales. And again, maybe if it serves you best to reach your hands down toward the mat, do that here. Being mindful to keep a bend to the right knee. Protect that knee joint, otherwise there might be just a bit too much pressure on it. And then start to lift your way back up, bring your hands back to your hips or your heart. Elevating your heart back up, stand up, cross down. Shift to one foot, shift back to the other. And then come back to your Tadasana pose, or if you'd prefer, Samastiti. So first, just shift a little bit front and back. Maybe the weight from your heels all the way down to the center of your feet, to the balls of your feet, and then even a little bit to your toes. Maybe even your heels rise up. Rock it all the way back. Maybe your toes rise up. Take it forward. Maybe your heels. Rock it back. Lift up your toes, maybe the balls of your feet. One more time each direction. Take it forward. Rise your heels. Take it back. Lift your toes, maybe balls of feet. And then soften that movement so that your whole foot is on the mat, but you're still shifting the weight front and back. And then minimize that difference, coming to center, a little bit left and right. So we're going to exaggerate this as well. So maybe a little bit of a bend to your knees is helpful here too. You can feel as you shift to the left, the ball of your left foot lift up, the outer edge of your right foot come up, shift over to the right, ball of your right foot, outer edge of your left foot. And then start to soften that out so that your whole feet are pressed onto the mat, but you're still shifting left and right. Come to that place in the center. Then lift up through your inner arches of your feet. Lift up on your kneecaps. Draw your hips up toward your ribs. Shrug your shoulders back. Arms alongside your body, your palms at your heart center. Lift up to the crown of your head, soft to the back of your neck. Release through your jaw. Inhale, lift up your palms, send your gaze up, get as tall as you can possibly get as you press down through your feet. And on an exhale, hinge forward, forward fold all the way down. Release your palms. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, fold. Step back to the top of your plank pose. On an exhale, we're going to move through a vinyasa if you'd like. Lower to or towards your mat through chaturanga. Untuck your toes for a back bend of your choice. And on an exhale, take it up and back to downward facing dog. We're going to do that again. Inhale, rise to your toes, come to the top of a plank pose. Exhale, lower to or towards your mat. Untuck your toes, inhale for a back bend. Exhale, lift it up and back, downward facing dog. This time, come forward to the top of a plank pose, and then lower all the way down to your belly onto your mat. Bring your right arm out to the side. We're going to take a belly down shoulder stretch here. So right arm comes out perpendicular to you, thumb about in line with your eyebrow. Send your gaze over to the left. Press your left hand and start to roll over your right shoulder. Left foot can come behind you as a balance. If you notice your right head, of all of your heads, the right side of your head is lifted up. See if you can drop it down a bit. Maybe to rest on something. Slow exhales. And then if you took that bend through your left leg, extend it out, roll back onto your belly. Left arm comes out, perpendicular. Again, thumb about in line with your eyebrow. So rather than being down, slightly upward. Send your gaze over to the right, press your right hand into the mat and start to roll over your left shoulder, maybe bending your right knee. Place your foot into the mat for some support. And this is where you pay attention to your left head instead of your right head. All right, then start to re-extend that right leg. If you took that bend, roll back over to your belly. And we're going to take a little variation on this theme, both sides once again. So as we began the first time, right arm is out at perpendicular. Pivot at your elbow so that you create a 90-degree angle between your upper arm and your forearm. So your fingertips are pointing in the same direction as your head, so probably towards the top side of your mat. You want to keep this here as best you can. Send your right cheek to the mat, press your left hand, and then roll over your shoulder once again. You might go as far, you might not. Simply breathe. Notice any differences, notice any samenesses. Those are called similarities. And then on exhale, roll back to your belly. Same with different other side, left arm out. And then pivot at your elbow, creating that 90-degree angle. So you're creating a square here between your forearm and your upper arm. Left cheek toward the mat. Press your right hand and begin to roll over your left shoulder again. Maybe not as much, maybe just as much. And the trick to this pose is not allowing your left fingertips to come in closer to your head. See if you can maintain that 90-degree angle. You do not want a 45 here. And then roll onto your belly once again. Create a pillow with your hands, so your elbows out wide, palms stack, and then drop your forehead onto your stacked hands. Begin to lift yourself up. Extend your arms beyond, alongside your body, palms up. Take your feet about as wide as your mat. Lift up your hands, shrug your shoulders up and back so much that your chest starts to lift up. Point through your toes, lift up through your inner thighs. Allow your legs to lift up and away from the mat. Continue to lift up through your inner thighs. So you're lifting up through your toes. Keep reaching back. If you start to rock a little bit front and back as you breathe, that's perfectly fine. And then on an exhale, slowly release everything down to the mat. Create a pillow with your hands, maybe other palm on top. You could sit your forehead down to your hands or take one cheek. And we're going to take that Shavasana variation once again. Reach your hands back. Your legs are about as wide as your mat. Reach your shoulders up and back. Reach back with your fingertips. Keep your gaze kind of long. So, avoid the temptation to point your chin upward. Point through your toes on the other hand. Lift all the way up. Reach your hands back like they're reaching for your heels. And yet your toes are reaching away from your hands. Just so pesky. Breathe. Again, maybe a rocking sensation, maybe a little massage to your belly, maybe pressure to your hips. And then on an exhale, slowly release back down. Again, creating a pillow with your hands, forehead to your mat or opposite cheek from the time before. Bring your hands back alongside your body. Press up and back, child's pose once again. So knees wide, hips reaching towards heels, arms out long. Relaxed variation first. Reach your arms out long in front of you. Inhale, come back up to your hands and your knees. Realign your knees with your heels and hips, and then lower all the way down onto your belly. Flip over onto your back. Bend your knees so you can place your feet into the mat so your knees are shining up toward the ceiling. I'm going to take a bridge pose here. So bring your arms alongside body. Press through the back of your head to slide your shoulder blades down. Lots of broadness across your chest, so it feels like the fronts of your shoulders are reaching down. Press through your feet, lift your hips up, wave them back. And then if you'd like, rock over onto one shoulder and the other. You can interlace your fingers. If this is uncomfortable on your elbows, then maybe think about grabbing the sides of your yoga mat instead. Little tension to your bum, reaching the tailbone towards the backs of your knees. And then ever so slightly, bring your knees toward each other like you're squeezing a block. And anytime if you wanted to do that, that's certainly an option available to you. Continue to breathe slowly. And then if you've taken a clasp of hands or grip the sides of your yoga mat, start to ungrip, unwind, and then slowly wind your spine down, lift your hips up, heels up rather, for a little bit of space as you articulate the curve of your back. And then release your hips all the way down. Take your feet about as wide as your mat, drop both knees over to the right. Knees back up to ceiling, drop them both over to the left. Take back up to the ceiling again. Walk your heels back in close to you as you did before. And again, slide shoulder blades underneath you. And we're going to take a variation here if you would like. So you can take the same kind of bridge pose here, the same as you did before, or maybe even a bridge flow. Or if you'd like to continue with some of the binding that we've been doing, you can slide your hands underneath your heels. So you really have to walk your heels in close to you, so that your palms are underneath your heels, shoulder blades onto the mat. Press through your feet. On an exhale, start to lift your hips up, slide your shoulders underneath you, rip through the feet, squeeze your knees toward each other. Your chest chases your chin and your chin chases the sky. And again, if this provides any undue stress on your elbows especially, please slowly unwind. Continue to press through your shoulders. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, you're going to slowly unwind through your shoulders first, release your heels, lift them up, and then wave all the way back down. Set your feet to the wide sides of your mat. Drop your knees toward the left. Up toward the ceiling, drop both knees over to the right. Take it back up. The next option here is either going to be a legs up wall, a shoulder stand, or supported shoulder stand with a block underneath your sacrum. I'm going to be doing a legs up wall without wall. So if you've got a wall nearby, then shimmy yourself up near it and then carefully extend your legs up, let your heels rest against your wall. If you're taking a shoulder stand, then that is your practice, and I trust you know how to move to this pose. If you're taking Viparita Karani, legs up wall without the wall, you're going to just from your back, bend your knees, and then extend your heels up toward the ceiling. Your arms can be alongside your body, closer, further away, one hand on heart, one hand on belly. Explore what makes most sense for you. And if you are in shoulder stand, take the safest option. And we're slowly going to come out of the posture you've taken. If you're in shoulder stand, maybe come through plow first before coming on to back. If you've taken legs up wall, carefully take your legs back down toward the mat. And if you've taken a different variation of legs up, slowly bend your knees, let your feet come into the mat. Set the block to the side if you chose to use prop. And then pull your right knee in towards your chest, extend your left leg out long. Supine twist, draw the knee across your body. And just as you need so that you can send your gaze over to the right, allow your eyes to close. Head back to center. And then extend your right leg out long. Pull your left knee in towards your chest. And then draw it across your body. Adjust as you need, send your gaze out to the left. And then bring your head and knee back to center once again. The final posture in this class is Shavasana. Please make all the adjustments that you need. Adjusting your environment, your clothing. And then once you find enough time and the space where you could feel that you could stay for a little while with minimal movement. Begin the systematic process of release. Letting go of any physical activities that you have mostly control over. Loosen grip on thoughts. And allow your intention to flow through you as well as simply the act of being. Invite a deeper breath in. Slow breath out, maybe through pursed lips. Acknowledge the current state of your body and state of your thoughts. And then begin to invite movement infused with the dedication or intention that you set. Inviting life back into your body after corpse pose. Roll onto one side, perhaps using your arm as a pillow. Staying for several moments. And then with your eyes closed as best you can, make your way to seated posture for a very brief reflection and meditation. On an inhale, bring your arms out and let palms to press above you. And on an exhale, take your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought, to your lips for clarity of speech, and to your heart for clarity of action. Bow your head to your heart in gratitude, humility, and honor. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Thank you for allowing me to guide you. Thank you for helping me deepen my own personal practice. I'm so grateful for you. I am so grateful that you have created this community that continues to grow and flourish. The work that you do on your mat is reflected in the work that you do off of your mat. And I'm so excited to see how you interact with the world. Such Chittananda. In the name of the highest good, namaste.